Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. And it is book review time. You know what? I haven't reviewed books in a while. And some of you are like, man, did John stop reading books? Well, I'm trying to learn Italian. You can watch a video that I did on that. So I've been doing like Pimsleur courses and it's been cutting into my reading. I'll be running a marathon this Sunday, a full marathon. So I've had my training schedule be a little bit different. I have actually been running less miles in preparation to the marathon because I'm tapering and getting ready for that. So I haven't listened to as many audiobooks, but I'm still reading. I'm still growing my mind. I'm still expanding my knowledge like you should be. And I thought I would do a couple of reviews on a couple of books I've read. By the way, I've got a really good book here I'm reading. This is the Tao Te Ching. I'm going through that. I will do a review when I'm done. I haven't actually read that. I haven't had the pleasure of doing that yet, but now I am. So let's talk about what I did read. Today, I'm going to do a review on, let's do it on Primal Endurance. So this was a book by, and we can put up the link here, audiobook version by Mark Sisson and Brad Kearns. I think Brad Kearns narrates it. So Mark, a lot of you have told me about Mark. I like Mark. He's from the Daily Apple, or Mark's Daily Apple blog. Good guy. You know, paleo kind of guy. I'm not 100% into paleo, but I generally agree with a lot of their dietary recommendations and whatnot. So this is specifically relevant to me because I've been running a lot, and I did this experiment because I was like, all right, you know, I want to do this half marathon. I did this Beach and Bay half marathon here, and I was like, all right, you know, I've been doing fasted half marathons and whatnot, and you know, everyone says that you got to take these gels and stuff. So maybe I'm just like hard-headed, John, and you need to just carb up and do what people have been doing for years in the racing scene if you want to get a better time, okay? Because I was aiming for like a 1:45 half marathon. I didn't quite hit that. I ended up hitting like a 1:53, basically 1:52 something, or 1:53 something. It was somewhere right around there. Which was a new PR, so I was happy about that. But I thought, okay, I'll try carbing up, and it was disastrous. I carbed up, and I didn't feel any more better. I felt worse. In fact, I was like, man, running fasted was working better for me. And then a friend of mine, Josh, who is the marketing dude at Simple Programmer, he said, hey, there's this book. It's called Primal Endurance. He probably thought I wasn't going to read it, but I immediately bought it and downloaded it. And this book is essentially about running on fat. So this book is essentially about endurance sports or endurance athletics, but in a ketogenic running on fat. You don't have to necessarily be fully ketogenic, but just this idea that you're very low carbohydrate, you're not doing the carb loading, you're running fasted or you're running on fat, and you're basically trying to optimize your metabolism so that when you are running, when you're doing these endurance activities, that the largest percentage of what you're burning is not glucose, which you can only store so much of, very, very small amount, just about 2 to 3 hours for most people in their system, but instead fat, which you have basically unlimited storage of. And you know, I've run before. I did a video when I ran a full marathon completely fasted. I had fasted for about 24 hours and I made it, just self-supported, right? So I didn't run a race. I just did it on my own just because I'm crazy, you know, like that. I'm just crazy. But so I already knew this was possible, but I didn't have quite all the science and mechanics behind it. So this book is actually really good because one of the things that I'm doing and that it taught me was this heart rate training. It convinced me finally on the heart rate training, and I've been actually watching my VO2 max go up a lot, really fast, as I've been training within the aerobic heart rate zone. So for me, that's like 144, 145 beats per minute, and so it's really slow actually, but there's some really, really compelling evidence, some really good information in this book that talks about how doing that will build a good aerobic base, and that aerobic base, you'll eventually be able to get your time down so you can stay in that aerobic capacity, but your time will go down, so you'll be able to run faster. And I've been seeing that improve, and I wish I would have been training that way. Even though I was training fasted, the other concept from the book that was really, really stuck to me was that I was training in this dead man zone. They call it like the black hole zone, where I was in the orange, the elevated heart rate, I was above the aerobic, but I wasn't training intense enough to get a major benefit from that. So what I was doing was I was wearing myself down, not recovering fully, and really, I saw my VO2 max start to drop actually towards the beginning of this year, and I was like, wow, what's going on here? And this, it makes sense, right? So now it's better because I'm getting the right recovery. So there's a lot of really good concepts in here, a lot about periodization. If you're going to be competing as an endurance runner, this definitely makes sense, and a lot of really good nutritious stuff. There's some stuff in here that I don't totally agree with. I'll be honest with you. You know, there's some things about doing some of the resting on the training, and there's a few things that just seem like, you know, whatever. They're a little bit filler stuff, but in general, I mean, you know, I just got to say that because I want to be 100% honest with my book review here. But I like it. It's a good book. I think it's worth reading, honestly, just to get the one piece out of it, just to reinforce the idea of heart rate zone training, and that you don't need to carb up before runs. There's so many case studies, so much compelling evidence in there. I mean, you're talking ultra marathoners that have set records running 100-mile races that are doing this kind of nutrition thing where they are cutting out carbohydrates and they're running on fat. It's very compelling. So I highly recommend the book. It's very prescriptive, also tells you a lot of interesting things about how to do the training. It makes a lot of sense. So again, well, if you want to check out all the book reviews I did, I read like 70 books a year, something around there. You can check out the playlist here of all these book reviews. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button, click the bell to get notified as soon as the video comes out, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.